Hello, thank you. My name's Elissa. I'm a master's student, research at the University of Divinity in Melbourne. For 100 years we've been the Melbourne College of Divinity, but now we're University of Divinity. And I'm in the middle of a confirmation process, so I was hoping I'd be able to say I'm a PhD candidate, but maybe a bit later. I'm going to focus on something that has come out of almost everything, something that everyone else has been speaking about, and that's learning as a communal activity. So I grabbed a couple of photos that sort of encapsulate my campus. Is a lovely green welcoming campus, and that's my husband and the dean of my college. My university is made up of little colleges. I'm indebted to my supervisor who drew my attention to C. Wright Mills, who's a sociologist, but the last chapter in his book has some wonderful insights into learning as craftsmanship, and this is really what I'm about as a postgrad student. The first quote is, "The most admirable thinkers within the scholarly community you have chosen to join do not split their work from their lives. They want to use each for the enrichment of the other." And he also says to the beginning student, "As a scholar, you have the exceptional opportunity of designing a way of living which will encourage the habits of good workmanship. Scholarship is a choice of how to live as well as a choice of career." And that's really what resonates to me. So when I look at the qualities of an intellectual workman, this is what he recommends. Someone who is aiming for the perfection of his or her craft, realising one's own potentialities and opportunities, and constructing a character which has at its core the qualities of a good workman. And I ask the question, so how does one attain these qualities and perfect one's craft? Well, again, C. Wright Mills points out two aspects, two general areas. The first one is very much based on skills to be learned and honed. And he gives a couple of examples. But then also, don't forget to use your life experience in your intellectual work. Continually examine and interpret it. And doing so, I've added this through my studies, being attentive, asking questions, those questions that we were talking about before, being intelligent and reasonable and responsible with what you hear, what goes on through your ears, and then what comes out your mouth and in your relationships. These things have only started to resonate when I moved into the postgrad area, when I made those big levels of commitment that are required to continue on with this sort of study, especially, dare I say, as a theologian who hasn't had many discussions about career progression. So commitment for me has been, of course, financially, time and family, and it's also been an expansion of myself and my connections. So when I consider education, I think of it as a person-making activity. And so again, speaking from my experience, postgrad education is more than a process of learning in order to get a better job. It's an existential process. It is a person-making activity. And with that perspective, what are our aims and our objectives? This is a question for both students and colleges, and I would suggest it's part of that dialogue that was discussed before, the dialogue of a university. So now, education as a person-making activity in community. We don't do it together, and I have this experience very strongly because I have 4 young children. I've had to bring them to class as babies. They come to all the activities at my college with me. So it has been very much a communal activity for me. It's a journey of your own self-formation through education, collaboration with peers, and growing into a community of like-minded scholars. And those students who strike upon the key elements, which include self-appropriation, So I'd suggest that what we've heard today, that resonates with life experience and informing that through your intellectual work. But we heard the phrase agents for change, citizen scholar, I love that one, I'm going to remember that. And it's a real engagement with life. I also include teamwork and dialogue, and support and encouragement. And if you gain all of those things together, you will have discovered gold, education as transformation. And passion. So reflecting quickly on student experience, I would like to see, and I feel is very valuable, is that an enhancing and building upon a student's experience of feeling like one belongs to a community, of mutual support amongst peers, support from uni staff. It's as simple as just being taken seriously, and career support. And I have a little light-hearted picture. These are my children. They put on a performance at university on our social night that was organised by the SRC, and were so popular that they were mailed their honorary SRC membership and posed for a photo. So looking at a learning community, I think of, obviously you could add many more, but there's online forums and study groups, in-person study groups, tutoring, handing on skills, not something that's really encouraged, dare I say, in my university, but I find that personally very valuable and part of this whole process of gaining connections and relationships and just doing something of value. The SRC has been so important to my particular experience, fun and support, and of course uni groups. I've put in beer appreciation because that would generate a laugh in a room full of theologians. I have a lovely quote. I also channel, oh no, he's still alive. I was going to say I channel dead white guys, but no, he's still alive, sorry, to Rowan Williams, who is the former Archbishop of Canterbury. He says, "My charism, the gift given me to give to the community, is myself. Ultimately, my story given back to give me a place in the net of exchange, the web of gifts." Now he's talking about church, but to various degrees this is a true statement about all the communities and all the groups that we are part of. To some extent we allow ourselves to be a gift to other people. When our SRC gathered to just discuss our response to the mission statement of YTU, my college, Yarra Theological Union, the mission statement involves the words community, service, Catholic, which is universal, dialogue and diversity. So everyone said one or two words that was their response to their feelings about our campus of the university. Some saw it as extended family. Some saw it as transformative education. That's me, I'm a bit of a dork. Some said adventurous challenge, a friendly place, a friendly community, a great place to study, a place of self-discovery, and home. Now, I'm not trying to flog my college, but this was mostly a group of young seminarians who had come from various countries such as Vietnam, Singapore, Fiji, and they felt so welcome in their studies, so far from home, that they were able to say these particular comments. So in reflection on the role of the SRC in my college, I would underline hospitality with red lines and give it a big circle, because that's what makes people feel comfortable and happy and ready to learn. Also that comment there, a bridge between the student group and the academic staff, and a voice for students, which is obviously so important for our international students. So in conclusion, my experience of community is that education is an existential process, a person-making activity. It's a formation process in community that's give and take. It involves hospitality, inclusivity, friendliness, opportunities, respect and diversity. It's an opportunity for a student to intentionally develop themselves as an intellectual workman or woman. This is gaining skills, growing more attentive, asking questions, coming first, asking questions, growing more attentive, intelligent, reasonable and responsible, bringing together one's life's experiences and academia, recognising one's passion and having this passion supported.